Welcome back to Bitcoin Generations, where we talk about Bitcoin, God, family, not necessarily in that order. So, welcome back. It's God, family, and Bitcoin take two. This is the second round of today's podcast, and we are not quite finished talking about stuff today. So we're gonna keep going. Thank you very much, and you're welcome. So we have had some interesting weather here in since I last saw you, and we had a whole group going and had people in the podcast, in the chat, and some great comments and things. And I even got a zap. Got a zap here from. Oh my goodness! It was. Let's see who this was. This was. 50 sats. 50 sats. Thank you very much. This is and let's see. Whoa. Whoa, whoa. And you know what? Got a shout out to ADA Joey, Ada Joey. Listen to the live stream. I'm sorry, watch the live stream. You enjoy, have a very good flow. Keep it up, Bodie. So that was 1,000 sats on April 28th. So thank you very much, Joey. Appreciate that. And so just so good to be in Bitcoin. I just can't even tell you. I am going to tell you. I am going to tell you because that's kind of what I would say that's what I get paid to do. Not so much. Hey Jay's here. Jay's here. He goes like this. He goes sparking one up. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I'm planning to go to Vegas. I'm going to spark one up with Daniel. We're going to have although it's probably not going to be the green variety. What I like to smoke these days is occasionally, only occasionally, is medium body cigars. That's my jam. Medium body cigars. But not often. Only occasional. My understanding, if I'm not correct, or if I am correct, if I'm not correct, please set me straight. Nicotine is actually can be good for you. Do I have that right? But don't inhale. Right? Okay. I don't inhale cigars. I learned that early on. You can hurt yourself. I've inhaled plenty of smoke, and I won't go into different kinds of smoke that I've inhaled, but I would say that just be careful. Be careful out there. Hey, you know, everything divided by 21 million. Gotta love it. Love it. We're trying to bring value. Trying to bring value every day that we're here. It's not every day, but every day that I'm here, I try to bring value. So I will continue to do that as long as I have breath, as long as I can continue to do that, I will do that. And I'm thankful for the zaps that we got already today. And, thankful for the Bitcoin network of people that we've met. And that kind of segues right into where I want to go with this next point. And this is, I just kind of wanted to this, you guys, look at this. I want to show you this little sticker that I got. This is from when I went to Denver. See if I can you see that? Let's see. Let me, yeah, okay. So this is the Undermine conference that was, it's the 2025 Heat Punk Summit. Undermine is what it's called. And it's in Denver, Colorado, at this space. I don't know if you can see this right here. It's called The Space. And this place is an actual building they rent. and they converted the first floor of this 2-story building to a kind of like a meeting space, but half of it has a um, like a sort of a conference kind of style thing. It's kind of like long, like a theater, but it has a small little section in the front where people can sit up on a platform. They can have a panel discussion. They can have a presenter of some information, and that place is pretty good size. Holds maybe 40 people, 50 people. The other side is more like sort of like it has like a kitchen, but it's all open space, and really neat place to have kind of a small gathering of maybe 100, maybe 200 people at most. And that event was so neat. I will tell you, and the reason I'm telling you this is because number one, that event was the inaugural event of that thing, and it was for heat reuse. And I'm kind of where I'm going with this whole second half of this podcast today is the Bitcoin network, the people side of Bitcoin. This is the juice. This is what's so cool about Bitcoin, because everybody's interested in the monetary side, the sound money, the uh the scarcity of the 21 million, the it's you can't copy Bitcoin. You can't like it can't be two places at once. You can buy it, you can store it, you can sell it, you can move it, you can do all kinds of things with it as a technology, but you can't replace the flesh and blood part of the Bitcoin network. That without the people in Bitcoin who have the same value about the monetary side of it, you cannot replace that. And no other altcoin, no other money, I don't see any in my lifetime, no other thing will actually be able to replace that. That is what's so beautiful about the Bitcoin network of Bitcoin. So I was just going to show you a couple of books that were written that I found out about at that event, and this was the heat reuse thing that I've showed you. This is a book written by Tyler Stevens. Let's see if you can see that. And this book was written by it was paid for by the brains.com. You can go on their website and you can find books that they have. Some of them you can download, and some of them you can purchase if you want an actual copy of it. But this is a very fascinating book only about heat reuse part of Bitcoin mining. And just all this information is very interesting. If you find about if you have any interest in heat and how to like generate money if you're heating something, it's absolutely fascinating. And then one other one I just got last month when I went to Mining Disrupt. I found this one was written by Martin Connor. He says this one is titled "Bitcoin: The Ultimate Collateral," and he says here, "Never sell your Bitcoin, live off it." So another one that's very interesting. He's got, Bitcoin, the best asset ever created, why rich people never sell their assets, a collateral and lending deep dive, Bitcoin is the ultimate collateral, welcome to Firefish, borrowing against your Bitcoin on Firefish, investing your cash on Firefish, peer-to-peer loans, how companies can collateralize Bitcoin for growth. And then, of course, they have a section on Brains, leveraging and collateralizing Bitcoin, collateral for Bitcoin miners, collateral for Bitcoin companies, the future of Bitcoin as collateral. Agree or disagree, you can't argue with people that are publishing and actually getting some information out there. I think that's a fabulous thing for us all to know about. We need to have the discourse. We need to have civil and commonsensical discourse. And it's just 100% some of the things that we should be talking about. Let me get some more lighting in here. You guys need to be able to see what's going on, right? Right. Okay, we got to get the right kind of lighting. Get some actual things happening here, right? So I think before we got cut off because of my because my local weather power outage. I was talking about we were talking about Howard Lutnick and some of the messaging and stuff that they've been putting together on regarding Bitcoin, and as it's coming from administration. He represents the current government administration with regard to, he is the Secretary of Commerce, which has evolved into quite an interesting and powerful position, I might add. So yeah. So I would just very interesting on the messaging part of that. Um, one of the other things that I learned this week, that I would actually kind of point your attention to in listening to another podcast was a woman by the name of Lisa Ho, uh, Hough. She's very interesting, and uh, she was talking a little bit about this Goldman Sachs report from April of 2024. It was called the report, and I'm going to get into the report just a second, just briefly. Generational growth in AI data centers and what's coming in the U.S. power demand surge. Okay, that's a mouthful, right? But it's I'll segue to the end. Real summarize. This is, I mean, believe it or not, I'm kind of trying to reach non-Bitcoiners with some information that they won't hear anywhere else, because they're not tuned into the kind of the industry sort of stuff that's going on like I am. Not that I'm like, perfect or I'm on top of everything, but there are some things that catch my attention and that I would like to relate in the common sense, easy to understand, plain English format for those of y'all who are not necessarily seeing everything that I'm seeing. And I would say that, this report is very interesting. It's very bullish on Bitcoin mining. It's very bullish on energy, and it's very bullish on America. And, the power demand, America is going to is coming alive again. And it's going to be a lot of energy that's going to be coming, that's going to be developed. And I would tell you, from what I'm seeing in Ohio, there is a lot of money that's being spent. And these AI data centers, which are coming, and some of which are already here, but which more AI data centers are coming, there is going to be a ton of energy infrastructure being built out. Okay, so we've talked before about trades to go into, things to get some stacking your skills, get your kids, your grandkids to be able to start doing some of this stuff. Absolutely 100%. The trades are the place to be. You can make great money in the trades: plumbing, electrical, HVAC. People need to live. They're accustomed to wanting to stay cool. 100% in the United States. 100%. This lady Lisa Ho, she said there was some very interesting things that she was talking about. A ton of energy in the United States that's stranded, that's waiting to be utilized. Okay, and she also had a very interesting point about, I thought, Elizabeth Warren has been like one of the main enemies of Bitcoin. And so, again, not a political podcast, but just want you to know, if you're interested in Bitcoin, you need to see some of the things that are going on. And one of the reasons why you haven't been seeing, and you haven't been the messaging has not been reaching you, is because of the strings that have been pulled behind the scenes by none other than the senator from Massachusetts that I mentioned just now. She and our army have been 100% against Bitcoin. So, why is that? I cannot imagine who would be funding that. Another thing I just kind of wanted like to just briefly go into here, is just kind of want to, and I realize today is we're skipping around a little bit, but That's kind of how my brain works. Is I go into some kind of the highest data points, and kind of going to be bringing it back around to God, family, and Bitcoin. Um, but if your family is important to you, then you want to like preserve your wealth. And if you want to preserve your wealth, then you want to help educate those in your family and about the newest money that there is and the soundest money that we have today. Okay. Um, and so let's just go. I mean, when I'm gonna segue into this into a video I want to show you real quick, and it's about how money converges into one. And this was kind of like this is sort of a difficult concept for me to catch early on, but after it was explained to me, I understood. And so that's kind of really simply what I want to do. I don't want to drill down deep into this because, I'm just going to kind of sprinkle this across the top of your Bitcoin pizza today, and then you can like you can try it out, see if it works for you, see if you like it. If you're interested, you can drill down into this and you can go and see this video for yourself and watch it in part 1 and part 2 of Bitcoin Not Crypto. And this is the one by Parker Lewis. And this is a very interesting, I think, a very interesting thing about money that it converges into one. It's like, what do you mean it converges into one? It's kind of a hard concept to understand, but I don't think it's that hard if you kind of are interested in like you're curious about like why is that? How does that happen? So let's just be curious and let's I'm going to share the screen. You guys are going to see this and you're going to be very very if you're not interested in this kind of thing, you're going to find it I think fascinating at the after I show it to you. Let's go over here and away we go. Bam. All right. You ready for this? So this is Parker Lewis on the left. He's in the middle of a presentation, and you can disregard some of the stuff that's some of the other stuff that's here. But this is not a I am not advocating or trying to shill any company or any particular product. I just want you guys to see what I am seeing in terms of the information he's presenting here. So this is Parker Lewis, has a background in finance. I think he's qualified to discuss this and kind of unpack this for us just a little bit. Okay, here we go.
It is impossible to evaluate 1,000 different possibilities. Cryptocurrency 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's just too much information, too much noise. And you still have to get to a place where you can answer the question, how do I know Bitcoin is not my space? These are the two most important concepts. So if that was the most important statement and the thing that you should take away, that if Bitcoin credibly enforces its fixed supply, that it will emerge as the global reserve currency, these are the two concepts that make all of the noise fade to the background. There's a best form of money, and it's simply the one that can't be printed. That if I could pay you in a currency that increased in supply by 3%, that'd be worse than 2%. 2% would be worse than 1%, and 1% would be worse than just a money that can't be printed. That concept is generally more intuitive to people. The one that's less intuitive to people is that money converges to one, but it doesn't do so by random chance. It does so by necessity. So we're going to get into that concept. And before we get to the why money converges to one, it's important to accept two economic facts, the macro and the micro. Gold. People don't have to understand gold to understand Bitcoin, but they have to accept that the entire world converged on gold as a monetary standard over thousands of years. They've heard of the gold standard. The key question to ask yourself is why, and was it by coincidence? Then on the individual level, 99.9% of all individuals and businesses in the world only interact with one currency on a daily basis. There are a few multinational corporations that operate in multiple currencies every day, but 99.9% of individuals and businesses only interact with one. And the question is, Why? And was it by coincidence? It is not by coincidence. It is that trade is an intersubjective problem and convergence happens by necessity, not coincidence. So why does money converge to one? It is that I must have the form of money that you're willing to accept, and you must have the money that I have. That we must reach a consensus on what money is, and that intersubjective problem between me and you extends out to the next person. If you're going to accept my money, part of your evaluation of what money is and what's the best money is dependent on the next guy. So it's not a one-to-one problem. It's not even a one-to-one-to-one problem. It's actually a 1 to 8 billion problem, that this same identical problem extends out to each next person.
Okay. Don't get lost in the numbers here. This is just stay high level. Just bear with us here on why and how money converges to one. Okay. So hang in there.
Consensus of money is necessary to solving the actual problem, and that is why money converges to one. So in a more practical problem, what is the problem? Well, everyone suffers the same problem. It is money printing. What I have here, and I call this my
okay. Now he's going in a different direction with regard to inflation and money printing. So what I hope that makes sense so far. Okay. This right here discusses like how and why money converges to one. Okay. Because all these people are going to find out that, there's less friction, to go to Bitcoin. Bitcoin is already, the internet is already in place. This is a thing that's here. This is a thing that is like, it's easier. Are you going to the bank and using your debit card and, getting money if you need cash? Okay, fine. Nobody uses cash anymore, mostly, but you're going to the grocery store. You're going to here, you're going to there. The convenience, the form factor of this plastic credit card that has these little, curved things on it that you just tap it onto a screen and boom, the money gets transferred. This is the state of the art in the US dollar transacting network. Okay. The SWIFT network, whatever you want to call it. I actually don't think that's the SWIFT network, but I could be wrong. The point is that using your debit card to sign a transaction, boom, really quickly. That way the money gets debited from your account. You are used to this speed. Okay. So what can you do to actually, to where you can do the same thing with Bitcoin, but you're not having to rely on a trusted third party like your bank? Okay. Have you been to okay, this is a question for people who aren't in Bitcoin. Bitcoiners, feel free to chime in on this, but have you been to the bank as a business and deposited a check, and then they want to put a 5-day hold on your check? They want to put a hold on your check. Why? Because they tell you that it takes a while for that check to clear. Okay. How long does it actually take for it to clear? And then how long do they keep the money and then lend it out to other people and make money on the interest of your money before they actually let you have it? Okay. So it's almost, it may be clear, maybe not so clear, but it's not really your money. They'll let you use it when they're ready to, but this is not an unknown thing to many of you. Okay. But I would just say that, it's important for you to see that the existing banking system that we have is not friendly to you. It's not friendly to me. It's designed to enrich the people who are at the top, and therefore the people who are at, not just the banking level, the banks, the actual local banks, those are not the bad guys. Those are the guys who actually now can self-custody Bitcoin. That rule was just recently changed. But the central bank and the people who run the central bank. Another shout out. I'm going to shout out somebody here real quick. Alex Gladstein on a recent on a recent interview with Preston Pish, he mentioned he mentioned this documentary, and I'm going to mention it because it's something that I've almost finished. And if you haven't seen it, I'm going to mention it really quickly. It's called Princes of the Yin. This is something that I don't have the video link. You can look it up on YouTube. There's some great ones. I think they're about an hour and a half long, hour and 45 minutes or so. That is a documentary that tells you basically what has happened. Well, what happened through since World War II in Japan, and what their economic situation has been since World War II, and why it was like that, why it ended up being like that. Fascinating. You should see this video. You should see this documentary. Very good. Very good. Okay. So enough said on that. So I'm going to stop sharing the screen. We're going to bring it back here. Want to talk a little bit further about, God, family, and Bitcoin. There are some things that there are things going on like these days, spiritually, in your familial lives that are huge, right? And I don't want to get all philosophical and spiritual on you, but I kind of do. Everything is vying for your attention. Everything, including me, right? Okay, so but everything is vying for your spiritual attention as well. And I firmly believe there is a spiritual battle being waged right now. And it is being fought in vain. I already know who has won. I already know the beginning, because I've read the story to the end, and I know that Jesus wins. Okay, but if you don't have that conviction, if you don't hold that same conviction, 100%, hats off to you, love you. But I would say that this is something that you really want to kind of like understand, that this is not people aren't messing around. This is for real. This is not to be taken lightly. And so I think it's important for us to remember that, we have to know what the origin of all this is. And I'm clear. I'm 100% clear about that. And I'm also 100% clear about family. And family is, take them or leave them. Sometimes they're the most difficult things you can imagine. But, if, as far as it depends on me, this is my attitude. As far as it depends on me, I'm going to try to live in peace with my family. I'm going to try to live in peace with people that I meet, people on internet. Going to try to live in peace. We're going to try to get along, and going to try to love my neighbor as best I can too. And if that means approaching them in a way that's, not abrasive, not sandpaper, I don't want to be that guy, right? But at the same time, don't miss the importance of where we are right now. This is important to, to serve others, to donate to things that are helpful to others, to extend a hand to those who need a hand getting up. I'm not necessarily a fan of giving to giving to people just sort of like, oh, here you go, here's all this, whatever. I like to put a little more thought into it. I like to actually have more conversation and be more relational with people when I'm in person. And that goes for, people who are down and out and stuff. Because you know what? I came from that kind of place too. I've been at a place where, like when I was a kid growing up, we didn't have much. It was tough, single mom, kind of all that background. It's rough. And so, I think it's really important to extend a hand, extend a courteous greeting. It doesn't cost anything to be pleasant with somebody. I think it's just it's just a great thing to do. And I don't care if you have, 14 trillion dollars, whatever the amount of money you have. Does it cost you anything to be nice to someone? No, it doesn't. Is it something that they could remember forever? It could be. So you never know. You never know that person who needs that at that moment, right? And so that's the approach. That's the approach is to remember, like yeah, to love your neighbor, you know. You never know who's your neighbor, it could be anyone, right? It's hard, right? And how much are you supposed to love your neighbor? Are you supposed to do it until you get tired? No. No, you're not supposed to do it till you get tired. You're supposed to keep doing it. Keep going, keep going. You fall down and you can't get up and you're tired of loving people. Oh, hey man, let me come over there and I'll give you a hand up. You come on, we can get up. Oh, you need something to drink? You need something to eat? That's no skin off my nose. Let me help you. Let's do that. So I think this is an important distinction to make is that where we are right now is that a little bit of kindness goes a long way. And I'm going to say this for some of the younger folks who've never experienced this part. And that is that as an older guy, I can say I didn't understand the value of hospitality until I was ah, I don't know. How old was I? I was probably late 40s. Nobody had really ever really invited me into their home, and it's like, "Hey, come on," I didn't understand that until I was well into my 40s. Didn't really I was always like, like, what is the why did this person want me to come over, It's like, it's because as a Christian, I was called to fellowship. I was called to show hospitality. I was I think it's an important thing, and I think it's an important part of the Bitcoin network that we don't really value. We don't see that much. How often do you get invited to other people's houses? You know? How often have you invited people to your house? I'm not saying you need to be Christian. I'm not saying you need to invite somebody over to your house. Maybe that's not your jam. I didn't know it was my jam. I love doing that. I think it's so much fun. It's so great getting to know people by, breaking bread together, you sit down, have some food. And I'm not talking about being all religious either. I'm just talking about, come on, we're going to pray. Then we're going to sit down. Kids are going to have fun. They're going to run around, do their thing. And we're going to talk and maybe we'll have a glass of wine or something. I don't know. I mean, we're going to enjoy some conversation. We're going to get to know each other. That's it. It's fun. And it is such a hoot. And it doesn't have to be perfect, right? My wife used to be all worked up about what kind of food we're going to serve and all this stuff. And then we just figured out, okay, when we have somebody come over, we're just going to cook this. We're going to make this right here. Boom. This is what we're going to make. We like Mexican. So we like prepare Mexican and it's just the same every time we have somebody over. It was like, we're going to have Mexican because we know what we're going to cook and it's the same thing. We never get tired of Mexican. Love Mexican. In fact, one of my daughters is who's adopted. She's Hispanic, and she is. I speak Spanish with her. ¿Cómo estás? No más inglés, por favor. She's a hoot. She doesn't speak Spanish. She doesn't say anything that's intelligible because she's nonverbal. But what's my point? Okay, Bodhi, make the point. The point is we need to love our neighbor. We need to show hospitality. We need to get out there, invite people, do these kinds of things. This is like an open invitation to like people to see, what is the Bitcoin network? It can be people showing hospitality to each other. It can be. It doesn't have to be, but it can be. And so I don't see many people talking about that, but this is a real kind of in-person thing that's very interesting to me. I think it's absolutely fascinating. And I'm going to get off that soapbox for a second, and I'm going to just go out here and say, hey, you know, like, thanks for showing up again. We had a great power outage here, and, you know, like, thankful for that, you know, like, you know, everything divided by 21 million. You know, you think about everything divided by 21 million. Fascinating. I almost can't get my head around that. It's absolutely crazy. You know, a lot of people in the space right now, Jay, talking about, you know, like loans and what's going to happen, Bitcoin bonds and things like that. Do we know what's going to happen? But I think it's kind of being telegraphed. I think it's going to be very interesting to see how this actually plays out. And if you're in Bitcoin right now, you're in a good place. If you're not in Bitcoin right now, you need to get some exposure to it, because the worst place you want to be is down here at zero when this thing goes like this. Okay. Because you're not getting any volatility on the way up. You want to be down here. And I don't care if the price is 200,000 or 50,000 per Bitcoin. You're not buying Bitcoin. If you're like me, you don't have that kind of money. You just buy however many sats you can. That's all you got to do. Just get some exposure, because then you're on the volatility on the way up. Simple. Boom. Done. All right. So this will be common knowledge at some point, Jay. Absolutely. 100%. You know it right there. That's it right there. Okay. Jesus is king. All right. So, everything divided by 21 million. I remember some in Canada blocked funds from getting to the truckers when they went against the government. Yeah. Okay. So the question there would be, those funds were blocked, you know, in the banking system, the traditional banking system. You know, Bitcoiners were able to get money to those people. That's my understanding, is that they were not, that doesn't get stopped. So yeah, this is something that, you know, we want to continue to pursue. We want to continue to learn about it, learn how to use it, learn how to self-custody, learn how to get better at, you know, explaining to others, like, where we go with this. How do we get this in our wallet and put it away, and put it so that we don't have to worry about it ever again. It's cold storage, frozen, done, good to go. You know, so I'm kind of I'm going to again move on here. We got some more things to look into here. Kind of wanted to let's see, did I cover that? I did. I covered that. And yeah, you know, so let's see. I think that's pretty much. Let me take a look. Here. We did talk about those things. Yeah, there's some covered quite a bit actually today. So thank you for sticking with us through the power outage. Thank you for everybody being able to show up today, you know, and just continuing to move on with our lives, no matter what the obstacles. Okay, there's going to be weather. There's going to be power outages. There's going to be disruptions in food supply, electrical supply, everything you can imagine. Just the way it goes. That's how it's been. You know, we've been through a pandemic. We know some things, and yeah, it's not trust is not required, right? But if it is required, remember, little bits at a time. I give you a little bit of trust. You see what you do with it. You give me a little bit of trust, you see what happens with it, right? Fair enough. All right, y'all. It's good to be with you. Thanks for stopping in. Thanks for being part of Bitcoin Generations. Remember, the whole thing about Bitcoin Generations, it's not about me. It's about the generations that are coming behind me. It's about you. It's about the generations, your children and your grandchildren that are behind you coming up, and maybe generations that haven't even been born yet. There's going to be tons of them coming that are going to know nothing but Bitcoin. Yeah, for sure. All right. Thank you so much for the zaps. Thank you so much for the comments, the likes, the subscribes. I love it when we get some people who are absolutely passionate about Bitcoin, like me. We are here every Thursday at 2 p.m. We have guests at sometimes. We talk about Bitcoin and businesses. We talk about Bitcoin basics. We talk about Bitcoins for boomers who are stuck in their ways and don't know anything else. Yeah, we're all about that. We're all about that. And you know what? Bitcoiners, slow down. Baby boomers can be Bitcoiners too. They don't have to be the stodgy, grumpy, frustrated, know nothing, altcoiners. They can learn Bitcoin. This is possible. You can do it if you're a baby boomer, and you're going to hear it from me, continuing to hear it from me. You can do this, and I'm going to make sure that you keep hearing it from me. So thank you so much. That's a I don't like goodbyes, and that is a long goodbye. All right. So anyway, we'll see you at the next time on Bitcoin Generations. Look for some other other editions coming up soon. We've got all kinds of interesting things to talk about, and not to mention everything that's happening that comes out in the news and in the world. Have a great day, and Lord bless you very much from Bitcoin Generations.